Insurance Meets Accountability. And today I have the most special guest, Miss Ailee. Miss Ailee, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, everybody, and thank you, Patrice, for having me. It is
Of
such an
course.
honor and very happy to be here. Yeah, I am currently based out of Alabama, originally from Alaska, born and raised up there. And come this January, I've been in the insurance industry 3 years this January now, so it's been fun. Let me tell you.
And of course, thank you so much for being on. As you know, this podcast is about bringing transparency, trust, and integrity back to the industry. And of course, hearing your experiences and where you are now, just so people can know, hey, there's more to life out here in the insurance world, just than where you're at. So just so we can go ahead and jump to that first question, what initially drew you into the insurance industry, especially coming from the paralegal background?
Yeah, it's interesting story, Patrice. I
Yeah.
know you got a kick out of it, but yeah, prior to insurance, I was a paralegal for 10 years. And I wanted to go to law school. I got my bachelor's in justice, and that ended up not working out, which is okay. I'm fine with it now, right?
Mhm.
But yeah, I got invited by my mother-in-law to go down to Florida to a Rolling Stones concert in Tampa, and I met her best friend Esther and her friend Linda, and these amazing women that have been in this industry for a long time, and just got to hang out with them and see what they were doing and talk with them, and I was like, yeah, I want to be them when I grow up. So what can I do to get started? Like, how can I join? So yeah, it was Mick Jagger, and it brought me into it, you could say.
That is so funny. What a random current of events. And you're just like, these are my people. I love them. And
Yes.
so, did you have any reservations about starting a career in insurance, particularly in sales? Like, how did you overcome them?
Oh yeah, I was terrified of the sales and the fact that it was commission only. I'd never been on commission
Yeah.
before. I had dabbled in sales a little bit prior, and I had like no success, zero success. So I came
Mhm.
in with the mindset of like I suck at sales. And I
Yeah.
kept telling my mentor that, like I suck. I'm not like this is going to take a lot of work on your part and my part, but come to find out I don't suck at it. In fact, I'm so good at sales that I sold myself on the fact that I suck at sales.
That is so funny. So, when we talked earlier, you had mentioned that you're still very much a rookie phase, despite being 3 years in. What has kept you motivated to keep learning and improving?
I mean, the security, first of all, of the
Hmm.
insurance industry, it's been around for hundreds of years, and it survived things like wars and recessions and depressions, and even
Yep.
pandemics like COVID. So
Yeah.
it's here to stay, and it's not going anywhere. So as far as like job security, I like that aspect of it, and there really is really potential to make a lot of money here. And
Yeah.
also help other people make a lot of money, right? So
Hmm.
I'm all for helping people. And if it can help me and help my family while I'm helping others, I'm all for that. So
No, and you're 1,000% correct. I tell people this all the time. I was just like, the insurance companies have survived. Okay, Great Depression,
yes.
they did not depress, right? Even during COVID, there I remember seeing some talk about AIG failing. I was like, baby, that was the bank. The bank account failed.
Yeah.
The insurance
Yeah.
department was fine. If anything, the insurance department upheld that. But it's like when you just hear things on the news, and a lot of times these companies have different counterparts in businesses that they're into, whether it's health insurance or banking or other type of investments, but it all gets looped in together as one name. But we got to break that down. Insurance is fine. Insurance will always
Exactly.
be fine.
Yes. Yeah. And I didn't understand any of that prior, right? But now
Yeah.
I'm in it and I'm learning more and more and kind of how it works. And, so yeah, it's just solidifying my feeling that like, okay, this is a good place for me to be.
Yeah.
And
And there's always opportunity to learn more here. That's what is so good about this. So when I see someone say they don't know nothing, I'm like, how. Like, there's like tons of information you can just do on your own, other types of researches and stuff, even if the
Thousand
company you're
percent.
with doesn't have the resources. I came from that type of beginning where, hey, I wasn't given a lot of resources, but I could call the carrier. I could use YouTube. I could
Exactly.
do Google searches to find my answers and the information. Everything is kind of just right there. It's about, are you willing to be the person to take advantage of it? So at what point did you decide to transition from producer to a builder? And what has been the biggest reward making that change?
So it was probably like a year after being an agent. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
I just saw the potential for the passive income, right, with getting the overrides of having people on your team. But also I I wanted to share the opportunity with others, especially
Yeah.
me, being a stay-at-home mom and juggling kids and being a wife and the
Yeah.
household
Mental
duties
load.
and right everything, and it's just like, wow, to be able to have that balance and to feel empowered, right? I mean, like, I love being
Yeah.
a mom and everything, but it's just I wanted something to do for me, right?
Yeah.
So I wanted to share that empowerment with other women and other moms, and especially single moms, man. We have
Yeah.
a lot of single moms in this industry that just kill it. And it's like so many other women that just feel so helpless and feel so
Yeah.
like, girl, you don't have to be, you know?
Right? Just knowing you can pull back that control. That was the one thing about my license. Like you said, insurance has that guaranteed, there's always going to be something there. It's like, even when I was kind of jumping back and forth trying to figure out my way, insurance was always there. Like, it was like, it was like, where's my
Yeah.
hug at? Like, every time I hit a thump in the road when I was out there in the real world trying to make that corporate life work, that was there, right there. And it didn't take much, right? All I had to do
Yeah.
was, I could go to businesses, I could talk to friends and family, I could network on my social media, and I could write business right away and be good to go again, be up and running. So you emphasize taking responsibilities and not blaming others for setbacks. How has this mindset shaped your journey and approached it in the industry?
Well, it's easy to blame others or
Yeah.
blame things for why things aren't happening for you.
Yeah.
I don't like to do anything easy, so it's also, I grew up playing sports and everything, so like I understand. I can take constructive criticism.
Yeah.
I always want to improve myself, and every day I want to be a better version of myself today than I was yesterday. So,
Yeah.
um, it's I can't change everything. I can't change the leads. I can't change the carriers. I can't change the products. I can't change whether people show up to the appointment or not. I
Yeah.
can't change whether they're going to move forward with an application. Like, I can't change that. But what I can change is me and my
Yeah.
actions and my activity, right? And my mindset and how I approach it.
No, that's 1,000% right. It's just like, if we could just take all the emotion out of it and realize, hey, what am I doing to not make this happen? There's some part of anything we deal with that we're responsible for. And
Thousand.
that could even mean, and some of the guests that I've had have pivoted out of the insurance industry, knowing that, hey, this is not the place for me, or I am not going to be capable of doing the things that are required of me. And I do see so many people straggling along. That's why it's like, you are such a, like, just an amazing guest to have. Like, hearing you say that, it's like, if you don't have that mindset, or you can't bring yourself to that mindset, you're really just going to cause yourself torture here, a
Exactly.
never ending cycle of torture. And it's really not fair to you or the upline that you with, the company that you represent, because you're going to output negative energy to the industry that you're not having a good time, and then make everybody think that is the experience. That's not true. That's absolutely
Yeah,
not true.
totally. If I'm not getting the results that I want, it's because I'm doing something wrong. So I have
Yeah.
to go back and evaluate what I've been doing and find where the where the wrong is happening and then correct it, you know?
1,000%. And then you said something else about not being able to change certain things. I think the expectation is, where a lot of these agents think things are going to be handed to them like a W-2 job, right? They have to
Exactly.
look at some of these things as just resources. And then, even then, you have to apply that same mindset. If it's not working, don't keep doing it. find other resources because you're going to spend more money and time playing into something that's clearly not working and bringing you profit. Whereas you could take and reapply that energy into researching, better lead resources or even pivoting a different type of way of getting your clientele by maybe doing seminars, talking to businesses. There's
Exactly.
so many ways to engage
Yes.
into this industry, and leads are not the only thing. Like, my God, please, people.
And that's the beauty of it, is that there are so
Yeah.
many ways that we can do it. So like
Yeah.
we're not stuck just doing it one way.
Yeah.
Unless we want to be stuck. We make ourselves
Yeah.
stuck, right? But you have to decide to unstuck yourself
Exactly.
forward.
So, like, you have such a positive outlook, and you seem to have a good balance of the good and the bad. Like, you kind of know those expectations. So, what strategies have you developed to stay positive and forward thinking, especially during difficult times?
I spend a lot of time, especially this past year, on my own personal growth and development. Our
Mhm.
company is actually based around that. So a lot of our calls and trainings is focused on personal growth.
Yeah.
So I read books. Our team has a book club, so I do that. I've joined Mind Valley. It's this really I don't know if you've heard of it before,
No, I
but
haven't. Please explain. I love to hear
it's
it.
this great. I mean, they have different programs, for some are really short, like a few days, some are a little longer, maybe 20 to 60 days or whatever, but they're like 15, 20 minutes that you do. And it's just you can pick a level, right? Like career, money, relationships, your health,
Yeah.
whatever your focus is on. And you sign up
Yeah.
for these programs and you just work at your own pace and they give you lessons. So I start my day off with that to get me in the right headspace
Yeah.
to tackle my day. And again, reading the books. I also, I go running and play in the pool. Like I make sure to get out and have time for myself too. Like get out, get some fresh air,
Yeah.
go for a walk, even if it's for 10 minutes. Like just taking that taking that moment and just getting the fresh air and some sunshine can really help clear your head. And I mean, it's amazing the things that,
Yeah.
that can even
So, do
come to
you have
you.
a, sorry,
No,
do
no,
you have like a sense of a routine? It sounds like you have like a routine. Is that routine written down, or is this something that you know what you need to do every single
oh
day?
no, it's on my calendar. Looks like a Crayola box with all of the colors. Like I have to schedule every little thing in,
Yeah.
or else my whole world would fall apart. So like
Oh, oh yeah.
everything, yeah, like from showers to, when
I thought I was the
when
only
it's time to feed the kids, when it's time to feed myself, like when it's when it's my Mind Valley time, when it's time to dial to book appointments, when it's client time, like I have everything scheduled out all the way up until I close my eyes at night.
And but as you should, because then there's no surprises. I was really bad at that. And then something will show up on me. Like I am to the point where like you said, I have the trash. I have when trash and recycle comes,
Yeah, I'll
all of the things, every
forget.
single thing, because those details do matter. Like, I have it all listed. Like I probably have 28 notes in my phone, but it's like just different
Oh,
ideas that come up
alarms.
and I don't,
I have alarms on my phone constantly.
my alarm says eat as if I'm going to forget to eat. But things like that do happen, especially when we're busy and we're going and we got the momentum. We will forget to eat. We will forget to take care of ourselves. So our calendar, our alarms brings us right back just to keep us on
Exactly. Yeah.
track.
Yeah, I
And I think
have.
a lot of people don't come into this business like knowing what their calendar looks like or how much they're going to give to this business. And then they have a very different experience and they're wondering why. Because then you sit down and go, okay, well, what do you do Monday?
Yeah.
Tuesday, Wednesday, like what does your week look like at all? Do you have dial time spread out? Do you have like reach out time, time you're going to be on marketing? Like you said, go running, do some mind stuff, take care of the kids, make dinner. It's like, what does that look like? And most of the time they usually sit there and go, and it's like, well, that's why.
That's
That is literally the first step to trying to get to organize your business. You have to even know what you're even doing. So I know you can't do this all alone. None of us can. Even me doing this podcast, I can't do it alone. I need your guys' voices to amplify mine in the message of creating this integrity. So can you share how your support of your upline, your team huddles, and the systems in place have impacted your success?
Oh my God, they get I mean, I can't say full credit for their success because it
Yeah.
was me, but I mean, they've always been available to me. Esther, my mentor, just when I first started, I called her multiple times a day for every little thing. But she was always there for me, right? And is always there to encourage me and motivate me. And when I don't have the belief in myself, I can call and borrow some of hers,
Yeah.
right? Her belief in me. So and then our calls too, like I said, it's not us just sitting around talking about insurance because that would be super boring and I wouldn't be here if that was the case. It's more focused on again the personal growth and development and how on and then that just like bleeds out into our businesses. So it's great to have the cheer, the everybody supporting each other and like having that sense of like teamwork and camaraderie and if
Yeah.
something happens, knowing that like I'm not alone because that's happened to this person before and multiple other people before, so
Yeah.
it's just a very open, transparent, safe space for not just me but everybody on our team to go to, and
Yeah.
it's a blessing, Patrice. Like I've heard some
I'm jealous.
on your I know I'm like
I'm quite jealous.
I didn't realize how good I had it until getting out more and talking more with
Yeah.
agents and having people like you reach out, and then I was listening
Yeah.
to your podcast and hearing some of other people's stories, and it's just like, man,
You're like, that
no
wasn't my
wonder you
experience.
had such a hard time. Like
Yeah.
sucks. That
Mhm.
really sucks. And that really opens up my eyes and everything too more on what kind of a leader I want to be for my team
Yeah.
and for future agents that are going to come join me. I want
Yeah.
to be that available, that servant leader, that full
Yeah.
servant leader to all of my agents.
No, and to your point, like I am very jealous of your great beginnings, but at the same time, I'm happy I went through what I went through and the experiences brought me here because I want people to know your experience. Almost every single person that I have interviewed, I didn't know what company they were a part of. I didn't care. I just saw that they
Yeah.
were happy and they were promoting on social medias and stuff like that. So I engaged with you just like I did here. And I'm just like, wow. And then I find out what company from. I'm like, and it's not a bad thing. It's more like I want to say like positive. What's the word I want to say? Like like I remember being in high school and we had positive
Yeah.
rivalry. That's what I want to say. And I probably I
Yeah.
feel like it's a
No,
bit of
that's
positive
a good one.
rivalry. Right? Oh my gosh, I cannot say that word. It's a bit of positive rivalry. You know what? Forget it.
I
Anyways,
got you.
so
We
it's
got
like
you.
yeah, when someone brings up a company, I'm like, you know what I mean? They do this, they do that. And, at the end of the day, that's really my only bang up with some companies. Like commission levels might be different, products might be different, training opportunities might be different. But at the same time, um, your experience is valid. And I want people to hear about your experience and your positive experience too, but also come to you. If they decide that, hey, my experience is nothing like, like Ailee's, I want to be a part of Ailee's because when I worked at one of my practice companies, as we like to joke and say, I did a video where it went viral within the company, and a lot of people were recruited off that video, but they didn't come to Patrice. They didn't have Patrice's experience. They had the experience of other, agency managers and how they had things set up. So that's another reason why I wanted this podcast for people like you that are having an amazing experience so they can come straight to you and not go through a funneling system and then get spread all around. I want them to come directly to Ailee and have the Ailee experience. That's the only way this is going to work. And this is the only way we're going to be able to change the industry. So before I do change the next topic, is Esther your only source of help in your realm, or is there other leaders within that, or is she just that much of a badass?
Oh no, there's lots of other leaders within. Yeah, there's Scott and Kelly who are amazing.
Yeah,
They've really helped me grow as well too, and very supportive. Power couple teams. I love
yeah,
those.
yeah.
And then she's my best friend now, Helen. Like she's helped get me more into the advanced markets and has helped train me on the IULs. So excuse me, so I'm able to help my clients even more, with that. And I want to get into the annuities and other stuff, all of that yummy stuff, you know. So I was like, I'm finding the people that are good at those things that I want to do,
Yeah.
and I just like cling on to them, and you know, like,
Absolutely. And I am happy to collaborate. So if you want to chat about annuities and stuff, I'm such a nerd. Like I love this stuff.
yeah, okay.
I'm like, I need more friends to talk insurance about. Because my husband and kids are getting tired of it. So, so do you feel all the resources have been essential to setting you up for growth and helping you develop your own system for your agents?
Oh, 1,000%, Patrice. It's just like what you said earlier, right? Like if you don't have it within your little library there,
Yeah.
like you can find it on the internet. You can call the carrier directly. And yeah, the having those resources all in one place for us. Scott set up this amazing website for us to do everything. Like I have that open. It's got game, help with the underwriting and game planning and quotes and going right to the e-apps and direct numbers to the carriers if you have
Yeah.
question, like it's all right there on one page. And without that, it I would have I would have spent so much more time, right?
Yeah.
It's good to do the research yourself too, but if you like know if it's all in one place and you at least know where,
Yeah.
that it's there, and then you just have to click a couple buttons and then it's
Yeah.
and then it's there, and then you just have to spend a few minutes to read it versus, trying to dig. I don't, yeah, it's
But like you said, it's
resources.
very clear you have servant leaders. Like they are making sure all that it's like the tedious stuff. It's not that you can't go get the phone numbers yourself, but it's like, y'all already have the numbers. Can you put it in one spot to make it easier for me so I can just go help people? And of course, I'm gonna do the work. I'm gonna educate myself. I'm gonna read. But it's like, can you kind of put it in a collective place? This is a business, and I'm helping you grow your business as well as my own. So I love that your team realizes that at the end of the day, they're the parent, you guys are the children, you're their babies, and they're making sure you have
Yes,
all the necessary tools to have success, the same way we would do with our own children. We
totally.
wouldn't like,
It makes it easy for me because I don't
yeah,
have to recreate that. I can just send
exactly.
agents to that website and it's all right there. So, you know,
Exactly. And to me, that's how it should be. So I know there's a lot that comes to building a team, there's a lot of risk involved with that. And it sounds like your agency is doing a good job of preparing for you. But unlike me, I did have one agent roll up $25,000 in debt to me. um, so with that being said, chargebacks can be challenging for many agents. How did you first approach understanding and managing chargebacks?
I remember I called Esther and was like, "What is this?" And she said, "Oh, oh, you got your first charge back. Hold on, let's call Scott." And then like my heart was racing because I was like, "Oh my God, like I'm gonna get in trouble. Like this is really
Yeah.
bad." And Scott got on the phone and Esther was like, "Oh, Ailee just had her first charge back, and they celebrated me for it." Like I was like, "Oh yay!" This is part of the business. Like, it was kind of like an initiation, right? Like,
That
okay,
is
it's
so cute.
official. Now you're an
It
agent.
made it sound like you were going through puberty or something. Like, oh,
I know. So it was kind of like, okay, so this isn't that bad, but then, they start asking me questions like, well, did you call the client? Did you find out what happened? Like, that this and that, and like how to avoid it, right? So it's funny now, but yeah, it's like just celebrate it. They do happen. However, if you're getting a lot of chargebacks, like if you are getting consistent chargebacks, then again, you need to go back and reevaluate what you are doing because you're doing something wrong and you can fix it. You can fix it.
yeah,
You can't completely eliminate chargebacks, right, Patrice?
yeah,
I mean, once in
yeah.
a while they are going to happen. But yeah, it's now it's just I spend a lot of time with my clients asking questions and building that trust, and not just asking questions but actually shutting up and listening to them
Yeah.
and hearing their concerns and letting them know that I do hear their concerns and I understand their concerns. So I know I don't get very many chargebacks because I do build that rapport with my clients. And also getting better at following up. Like before, I
Yeah.
would be too scared to call them. Like once I got that email, right, oh, this policy is about to lapse, I would be too scared to call them to figure out what's going on. And now I'm not scared at all. Like I'll call.
Yeah.
Usually it's something so simple, like, oh yeah, my, blah, bank account, something happened. Like,
Yeah.
okay, cool. Let's just call. We can reinitiate the payment. Other times, my first death claim was from a chargeback. This client, I stayed in connection with him, in contact with him, and he was very, very good at getting back with me. And I got one of those emails, and I just never heard from him. He didn't return my calls, he didn't return my texts, and something just told me that something's wrong. So
Yeah.
I called his granddaughter, who is his beneficiary on the policy that I wrote him, and come to find out he had passed away a couple months before that. So that's why the money wasn't coming out of his account, was because he passed and she had no idea. So if
Wow.
I wouldn't have taken that time to figure out why the premium isn't going through,
Yeah.
his granddaughter wouldn't have gotten the money, and that was what he was most concerned about.
And that is so important, like, especially as an insurance agent, knowing you have that kind of integrity, because I've been in the game for over a decade. So I have seen more times than I can count where an agent will just write it off and be like, "Oh, I'm past this period. I'm not getting a chargeback, so I don't care anymore." But you just demonstrated why we should care.
You should, yes.
Granddaughter had no idea. And that is huge. I don't care if it was a $5,000 policy or a $250,000 policy. Nobody's crying over a tax-free check. No
Nope.
one there. And that is, again, that is something that she needed, and her grandfather did the things to put that in place. So it's our job as the agent to follow up and
Yeah.
make sure that the whole thing is complete, because we're their agent until they're gone.
Exactly.
And that's important for us to understand, that when you get into this business, it's a lifelong commitment with your clients, period. And make sure you pass them off. Because I've had some agents who have left the industry, but they would pass off their clients to me. I would send them a text message like, "Hey, I'm the girl, I'm the guy now," and then reestablish a relationship with them there. So
I love that too. Yeah, it's so important. So
yeah.
important.
So what specific strategies or steps do you teach your agents to help them avoid or better manage chargebacks?
Same thing is, what questions are you asking the clients to? And also, it's very important that it fits their budget. So
Yeah.
you really have to make sure of that. And it's okay if sure, we want the higher commission, right?
Yeah.
But that's not why we should be doing this. It's to help these families. So if you got to talk them down from to a lower premium, because sometimes we know, right? Because we're talking about their finances and we're looking at it, and it's like, this could be tight for you, right?
Yeah.
I want them to tell me that. And yeah, like one example, one of my clients, she wanted to go with a critical period coverage. She wanted to go with the 18 months.
Okay.
And we started going, and she would just pause and be like, "Well, wait a minute," and I'd let her do her thing, and then she said, "Okay, how much is this again?" And after like the first time, I was like, "Okay, Patrice, like, I hear you. What's going on? You keep telling me to wait a minute, and I can tell you're doing math. What's going on?" And she said, "Oh, well, I just, I know that I'm about to add this other thing into my budget, and I just want to make sure that I'm going to be comfortable." And I said, "Okay," and I'm going to use your name for an example, but okay, so if we added this to your budget, how does that make your comfortable level? And she's like, "Okay, let's go with the 12 months then." And I was like, "Yeah, that's what I would put in too. It's still enough coverage for what you're looking for." So you have to be a servant leader and also a servant agent enough to, help your clients get coverage, even if it's less than what they're looking for, right? Because you can't afford it, but something is always better than nothing.
1000%. I was literally going to say that, but I was like, even I'm learning. Patrice, shut up.
Yeah.
So I'm glad you said it and not me, but literally that is my line to my clients when I know budget is a thing. And
Yeah.
especially growing up, being someone that, receive welfare and we have the food stamps, I get it, right? So I tell them, and something's better than nothing. Your family's not going to be mad. I'd rather you give them a head start than them start from scratch. You
Yes.
know,
Yes.
that's always
I
going to be
love
better.
that. I love that.
Yeah. Go
Use
ahead
of
and use it. You're welcome.
thank you. Thank
Sharing,
you.
sharing.
What it's all about, right?
Exactly. And again, this is why I love this. I want us to start having conversations. I don't care where you work, we friends. So speaking of where you work, you mentioned a preference for working with newer agents over seasoned ones. What qualities and newer agents make them more receptive to guidance?
Just because they haven't had any like past habits ingrained in them,
Hmm.
I guess you could say. So they're a clean slate. So
Yeah.
I can teach them. I don't have to like what's the word? Like re-brainwash them into
I would say unlearn.
yeah, unlearn. Thank you. Like have them
Yeah.
unlearn one system and then learn our system. So
Yeah.
I don't have to do that. It just makes it easier. However, though, I mean, just like with you, Patrice, like you've been in this business for so
Yeah.
long, it's like I do embrace those that have experience because you're gonna help me be better, and you're also gonna help the team be better as well. But it's just that concern of can you break away from your old habits and
Yeah.
start into these new ones on what I'm
Exactly.
looking for with my team, if that makes sense.
No, that does make sense. And that's why I always encourage people, and I even encourage you, if you do encounter a seasoned agent that wants to jump on your team, I would date them in terms of,
I love,
hey, let's have you come on it. Like it's like, and rather than signing on a bad agent that won't be happy, have them show up to a meeting or two. See if they have a client that's coming up, and then you guys work that client together. Like that way, you're kind of seeing what they're all about. Like obviously, some people
exactly.
show their representative to start, but there's always red flags. Even the
Hmm.
people I've encountered that have done the things that whether it's chargebacks or basically just chargebacks, if anything, I knew they would do it, and they did it. And that was that kind of thing, and it was one of those things that it was more of an intuitive feeling rather than them actually showing it, but it was something in
Yeah.
their behavior already where I could have stopped it before it started, like maybe I'm bold enough now
Yeah.
to say we're not a good fit because you're not about to have me be broke again. But that's why I
Yeah.
encourage dating before marriage.
Yeah, and I
Marriage.
do just that. I call it trial runs though. I love
Yeah.
there's date them, but yeah, I have them come to the
Well, tell
call.
me about your trial runs. What's that about?
So I have them come to our team calls,
Okay.
do daily check-ins with me. We have office hours, so like come on, let's dial together, like I want to just like what you said, I want to get to know you. I want to kind of see how you work, get a feel for how you talk with your clients, how you handle being on the phones, like those kind of things for me, not just for me to see if they're a good fit for my team, but I also want to make sure that that feeling is reciprocated and that
Yeah.
me and the team is a good fit for them as well.
Yeah. So I know we kind of touched on it a little bit, but how do you recondition experience agents who may be resistant to change or think they already know it all?
That's like my test. If they can if they can show up to the calls and check
Yeah.
in with me every day and come on to office hours and work with me for a couple hours a day, like that, yeah,
Yeah. You're
that's
like it's pretty cut and
simple.
dry.
You
Like
just
it's
gotta
pretty
show up.
obvious.
Like just show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So going back to your earlier sales experience, having co-owned a football league of all things, you knew how to spark interest, but initially struggled with the closing sales. What did you learn from that experience?
Oh, I learned I those were the best days, my football league days. So much fun. What I learned from that, it was I wasn't very good at the closing just because of me. I just didn't do it right. Like now that I've been in sales long enough, I'm like, nah, it was all me. It was all me. It was all me. But it was easy for me to get the people interested because I was
Yeah.
excited about it. I am passionate about football. So
Yeah.
it was easy for me to draw that out of other people as well.
Yeah.
And it's also pretty simple with football, right? Like you either love it or you don't. And I mean, that's that's pretty much it. Here with
Yeah.
life insurance, it's a little bit harder. You can't really get excited about
Yeah.
dying. It's a little morbid. So you gotta be more strategic about it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I can still bring in that excitement, that confidence that I learned from um
Yeah.
being in football to this. And I've found again with working on my mindset and using the resources and just have going in with that positive outlook on just everything and anything. It's really made an impact on my production of my business. It's awesome. I'm excited.
So what was the difference between those closes and like your insurance closes now? Like what is that difference? Like how are you able to lock in your sales now?
Um, oh gosh, that's such a good question. And it's like, I'm more confident to be a little more pushy, I guess, right?
Yeah.
Like, okay, are we gonna do this now? Are we gonna take care of this now? Like, are you ready to do this now? Whereas before it was I didn't want to be pushy. I wanted to be
Yeah.
a friend. I wanted to be nice. I didn't want to scare them away.
Got it.
I'm not scared of scaring anybody away because there's thousands of other people that need my help and want my help. So like,
Yeah.
are we gonna do this now?
So
Oh,
now you're assumptive and
yes,
standing on business. Like
exactly.
I love it. I love it. And I loved how you handled answering it. Because that was like a bonus question that kind of perked up out of there.
I
Um,
was looking over like this isn't on here. No, I love it, Patrice. Okay.
so moving from being a stay-at-home mom to a full-time agent, what has it meant to you to have such a flexible schedule?
Oh, it's it's so beautiful. That I don't have to ask anybody's permission to do anything, you know. If my kids are sick, I can take care of them. I can take the time off to still read them a book or put them in the bath or um, you know, drive them to take them to the park or go to the hall go do the Halloween things. They've got
Yeah.
so much candy from October. It's like they're finally coming, they're finally crashing, thankfully.
Yeah.
But yeah, so just have being able to balance that because I didn't want to be like a lot of my friends that like they struggle with that, like having to worry about losing your job because
Yeah.
because your kid is sick again, or
Yeah.
up in Alaska they close it for snow or whatever. They didn't used to do that when I was a kid, but now it's like this
Which
closes
I'm like,
every
baby, ain't
little
it
thing.
always snow?
Yeah. Yes, I know. That's for a different podcast. But I didn't want to have to be I don't want to have to ask somebody permission because I would be like, nope, my kids come first, right? Like my family
Yeah.
comes first. So
Yeah.
being able to have that freedom and that control, um, I love it. I'll never go back ever.
And I love that. And I know, being while you're not a single mom, you're still a mom all the same. And I know I'm going to have a lot of moms listening. And this wasn't a question on here, but I do want to ask, and I think we touched on it before, but how are you getting your clientele? And are you able to gauge that every single month so that, hey, if 5 clients a month is what you need, you're able to continuously do that? Because I know with most moms going from that W-2 to over here, it's about the consistency and be able to keep it up. So how do you do that?
Totally, yeah. We have a great lead system that we can invest in. It's not required to do that, but I highly recommend all of my agents, start get a standing lead order, and the cost varies depending on your
Yeah.
commission level and the type of lead. So that's a good one to start with. Depending on their budget too, like everybody's different. So I meet with all of my agents one on one, see where they're at, where they want to go, and and just help them out, right? Do they
Yeah.
have a budget to start with? If they do, great. If they don't, that's great too. I really didn't either. I started from scratch as well.
Yeah.
So more market, your own friends and family and social media, right? Patrice, that's how you and I
Yeah.
connected.
Huge.
That's from my Facebook posts. And it's like, I
Yeah.
didn't realize how like that is free marketing. That is a free
Right.
resource, 100% return on investment, you guys. Like just do social media, like tell people what you're doing
Yeah.
and you'd be amazed how many people will reach out to you.
And you never know who's watching, because even for me, I'm very specific about the people I bring on. I'm literally looking at your posts and what you're communicating. And it's not about the thing. It is what I've noticed about this industry. People like to sell products or sell the price, but they're not selling the why. And for me, when I saw your post, it's like you had the why factor there. I know when I sit in front of you, even how you say my name, it kind of makes me sit up straight because you say it with such demand, but in a respectful way, like, hey, I'm talking, pay attention. I'm trying to say protect your family. I know I'm going to be taking care of you. And then it shows in your post. So it's like for me, it's like if you're bleeding out and I can see it, I know other people will see it. So
And
thank you for
thank you.
being you.
That's my goal. That was my goal.
Yeah.
So
Yes. Thank
I
you
was
for being
I was
you.
nervous about social media at first, because I'm just like I'm actually a very private person.
Hmm.
It's just and I didn't want to come across as one of those like, oh, look at me people, right?
Yeah.
It's just like, okay, I'll just do it. Let's just do it and
Yeah.
start it and see what happens. And another thing, I wish I would have started building sooner. I wish I would have done social media posts sooner. I want to get into like the TikTok videos and stuff too, like doing
Which
like
is, I'm so glad you brought that up because it's so funny. I was just discussing it with someone. I'm like, I just spoke with a girl who said she wished she would have hired earlier. Whereas with other people, they're going like, I wish I would have waited. So can you tell me what makes your experience is very unique to most people because you have a great support system, number one. I think that is so paramount out of everything. And then obviously it comes down to you, but what do you think that difference is? What do you feel like what was your aha moment now where you're just like, I should have hired sooner?
um well, first it would have been more fun to have like somebody to kind of run with, you know,
Yeah.
and learn with. And that's what's great too, is like even with my new agents, I tell them like you don't have to worry about doing the training. And I didn't have to worry about that either, but for some reason I did. Like I
Yeah.
felt like I had to be at a certain level before anybody would take me seriously. But that's not the case. Like because
Yeah.
Esther would have done the training. She would have done that part while right. She would have done to them what she was
Yeah.
doing with me. And so I'm trying to get that across to my new agents too, is like you don't
Yeah.
have to do that part. You just bring them. You guys
Yeah.
learn, work together, have fun together. I'm going to do the training. I'm going to do all of the hard part, right?
Yeah.
So
And I think too, like to both of our points, you are kind of a rare case from what I'm seeing, but I'm loving it because I am seeing more, and I think it's because I'm looking for it, I'm finding it, and it's that building that sense of trust because a lot of us are told the same thing as what you say, but then it's not actually done. You know what I mean? You bring people in, and now you're looking dumb. I just know anyone that's listening, if you go with Ailee, it will be done.
it will be
Ailee is
done.
not for play. Okay. She is going to take care of you because guess what? She has mom, Esther, who also takes care of her and a whole support system and all the resources and training readily available. All you have to do is show up. That's it.
1,000%.
That's it.
That is it.
So, coming from Alaska and moving to Alabama, how has that journey influenced your approach to building relationships and connecting with clients?
Um, it hasn't really changed my approach at all,
Hmm.
except that it gives me more to talk about, more that more to relate to with people down here. Now that I'm actually here, they're like, oh, being from being from Alaska, I would call from my cell phone. So
Yeah.
I think that gave me an advantage because people would pick up just because they were curious as to why someone
Yeah.
from Alaska is calling them. Yes.
No,
So
it's so
now
funny.
being down here, and
Yeah.
it's amazing actually how many people from Alaska moved down to Alabama. So I'm like, oh,
I'm amazed
I'm
now.
finding my Alaska people around here too.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. So
I think that that's so funny that you shared that because I thought that was like a personal experience. Moving here from California to Indiana, people answer like Beyonce or Taylor. They think a celebrity's calling them, or they'll like pause on the phone and start breathing. I go, I'm not a bill collector. This is not your extended car warranty. You know what you did. You but I feel like it did give me a lot of leverage because they're just like California's calling me, and I got more answers than most people with a
yeah,
317
well, they're
number.
curious. They're curious.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah,
I can work with curiosity. You bet.
yeah. I have so much fun. It's like I want to chat, but I'm like, shut up, Patrice. This is Ailee show. Next question. So your mom worked in PNC insurance. Did you ever imagine following in her footsteps, or has that been a surprising twist in your career?
Yeah, never in my life. If you would have told me that I would be doing insurance today, I would have laughed at you and called you crazy. But here we are. Yeah, I never ever would have thought ever. So it's
So that concert that you went to, was that like was insurance even brought up, or they were just it came up in conversation with your mom's
well,
friends?
they were there and like they because we went for a few days, so like
Yeah,
they would be down in the hotel lobby working before like we would go do something, and then we'd be at the beach and they just like,
yeah,
oh, I have a client, and they just go and pull, and it was just like, what? like like your life doesn't stop for this for this at all. And they're like, nope, I can do this wherever I want to, whenever I want to. And I was just like, okay, that is really cool. So so yeah, I was it wasn't like a insurance event or
yeah,
anything like that. It was just I went with my mother-in-law just to have a little vacation to myself, go to an
yeah.
awesome concert, like huge Stones fan, and and then it just kind of came out. So
You have had like the best fate. Fate was on your side. It's like, and because even when, like, because most people would look at that scene, right, of them working in the lobby before a concert or on the beach where you should be relaxing, you saw that as wait, they have control. They're doing it because they want to and they're happy. And they probably just made a couple of grand within 20 minutes of being on the phone. And now they're back popping a beer with me and we're hanging out.
yes,
Yeah.
like
So it's
what a
like,
life. What
yeah.
a life.
So where were you at in your point of your life when that was happening? Because that just seemed like if you were asking for a sign from God, like he gave it to you like three times over. So where were you in your point of your life where that was just so attractive?
Well, I had well, not just, she was like 6 months old, had my second child. So I had a 1 year old, a 6 month old,
Oh boy.
and I was getting like burnt out of being a stay-at-home mom, and money was
Mhm.
getting tight too. So it was
Yeah.
kind of like we got to figure something out.
Yeah.
And I was kind of panicking because I didn't want to go back to like the cubicle. I didn't want to go back to
Yeah.
9 to 5, to that salary pay, um that job, just over broke.
Seriously.
I didn't want to do that. And I just felt like there's got to be something else out there. And my mother-in-law talked to me about the company before, like I said, because her best friend did it,
Uh-huh.
Esther. So and I'd watched some videos, sat in on some meetings, but it was just right, it was sales and insurance. And then
Yeah.
no, no, no. No. But yeah,
You're like,
I did. I prayed. It was like I need something. I
yeah.
don't know what it is. Show me, show me what it is. Like, help
That
me.
makes so much sense. Like, what a perspective, right? You're out with a bunch of moms and they're just like living the life, and you're like, that's it. And the thing is, it was kind of presented to you in so many different ways before, but it had to be presented in a way that was
In the right
digestible for
way.
you. And I love
Exactly.
that. And I love your story, how it connected. Like, that makes sense because there are tons of moms in your position, whether they're married or single, that could use something that can give them a little bit more flexibility, even if this is just an additional stream of income, because you're not ready to leave that W-2, which I recommend keep your day job until you can do this consistently.
Yeah.
So what, go ahead. Were you gonna say something?
Oh no, I was just agreeing
Oh,
with
okay.
what you said.
So what are you most excited about as the industry moves towards more advanced markets and technology?
Oh my gosh, the advanced markets, you guys. Like I said in the beginning, there is money here. There is money here, and we can change people's wealth. Like we can change their lives, like our clients' lives with things like IULs and annuities. And I'm sure there's other things that I don't even know.
Yeah,
Patrice,
yeah.
you know, you've been you've been doing this a lot longer than me. But now that I'm learning about it, it's just like this is where the generational wealth begins. And you know, I'm gonna set things like that up for myself and my husband and my kids too, right? And like, because people won't buy from me if I don't have it myself, right?
Right.
So yeah,
And
I'm just
it is such a beautiful thing. Such a beautiful
yes.
thing.
Yes, I'm so excited about it because this is something that I think a lot of people have been looking for, and they don't realize that it's out there. And the industry itself is changing to make it simpler and more accessible to regular people, you know, like IULs, right? Like Trump and Elon Musk, like they don't have 401ks or IRAs. Their money is in insurance
Exactly.
and life
Exactly.
insurance, right?
And this is
So
why I want to have this podcast to, if we hear more people talking about it, more people will actually start to do the research and look into it. Because my thing is, if anyone says something negatively about something, maybe go ask why, you know, and what are they comparing it to, and then dig deep, and then dig deeper, which that'll be a whole other podcast episode when it comes to IULs, because I want to make sure that we are leading our families down the right path and not talking points of where you come from, because there's so many different products out there, and I believe insurance is not a one size fits all, it's a one size fits most. And I need to sit down and see what makes sense for your situation, because sometimes my clients don't need insurance, they need to move their money around. That's where my IULs come in, that's where my annuities come in. Now they're not paying for anything, we're just reallocating their money into a position where they're no longer losing, and then they're getting all these additional benefits if life events happen to them too.
which is so beautiful. And for somebody who loves to be in control, to have like now I can have control of that too and give my clients control of that. Like I'm all for it. I'm all in. You know,
and it's just like that mental load of being relieved. Like, I don't want my husband to get sick, but God forbid, those living benefits are going to kick in and essentially replace 3 years of his income. So we can figure out what's next for us. Not that I think it'll be 3 years, but hey, if I can get 3 years of my husband's income, we can pivot and figure out what we need to do. That's not going to be a problem. So as we come to our last question here, and as you know, while this is the Great Reset podcast for Insurance Meets Accountability, this is just our place to amplify our voices, to hear the stories and experience about agents already in the field. But as you know, we have our website agent score report where you can rate and review insurance agents. How do you see agent score reports supporting agents and being more accountable in developing their careers?
Well, I'm super, super excited about agent score report. First of all, it's now not only am I going to be Googling the people that I'm interviewing, but the licensed people, they're going to be looked up on that too. And I think it's just a great, you know, again, there's a lot of money here, a lot of money that can be made. But unfortunately with that also brings out a lot of bad people who are going to want to take advantage of that. And we need to not only protect our clients from that bad and those bad people, but we also need to protect ourselves from that too. Hearing horror stories like yours, Patrice, it's just like, oh my God, if I can do anything to avoid putting, you know, having myself be in that situation, like, let me know. And this podcast is a great way to help agents with that. So thank you. And agent score report
Thank you for being here.
is a great way for that too, you know, especially if we know that there's something out there besides Vector One that's keeping track of us. And people can go on and And right, like Vector One,
Exactly.
that's controlled by the carriers, but with Agent Score Report,
Yeah,
like, anybody can go on there and put it on there. Um,
exactly.
so it just makes, I'm not worried about it because I know that I'm honest,
Exactly.
right? So like but I'm glad that this is like a place, another place too, that I can send my clients. Like, here, go ahead, check me out on here, see what other people have, right? Like,
No,
it's
you're right. You're 100% right. If you have nothing to hide, there's nothing to be afraid of. And again, you mentioned Vector One, which is it, depending on how your company is structured with their subscription, people may not be reported. Depending on how chargebacks are reported, they may not be put on Vector One, and you have to go after them themselves. And then there are companies who are not subscribed to Vector One, meaning they do not pay a subscription to place agents on there. So what happens then? They just kind of wave in the wind, and there's no accountability system to track that and let other agents know. So again, I want to thank you so much for coming onto the show. And is there anything else that you want to leave our listeners with? Anybody that might want to get in touch with you, or any advice you want to leave to any agents coming into the market?
Well, yeah, I believe sent you my information. So if anybody wants to reach out, please, I am available. I love helping people. I want to help you on your journey to whatever that may be. Um, I want to leave you guys with this, especially for new agents, 3 things to be successful: mindset, resources, and activity. If you focus on those 3 things, I mean, you're going to hit your goals. Sky's the limit. That's it. And, again, thank you, Patrice, for having me. It's such an honor. Like, I love being able to share my story and my journey, and to hear others too, to help me be a better agent and just a better person, a better human being in this amazing, beautiful world that we live in.
1000%. Look at me. 1000%. Thank you so much, Ailee, for being on the show. And I'm Patrice Johnson, and this is the Great Reset Podcast. Until next time.
Again, thank you.